Welcome to my YouTube channel, Soul Velocity. Today we're diving deep into a topic that will separate your habits from your destiny. The title is Micro Wins, Small Habits, Big Results, and I've broken this journey down into 10 powerful parts, each one built to challenge, stretch, and grow you. So buckle up. Let's begin with part 1, the compound effect. Why small wins are the foundation of massive change. We live in a world obsessed with the big moment. The viral breakthrough, the overnight success, the standing ovation. But let me tell you something straight, something Steve Harvey would say looking you dead in the eye. There is no big without the small. The mountain is nothing but a collection of tiny, committed steps. You see, real success, it isn't one moment. It's 1,000 quiet choices when no one's watching. It's the 10-minute morning routine you repeat every day. It's choosing water over soda. It's showing up 5 minutes early. It's shutting off distractions when your dreams are on the line. These aren't small, these are sacred, because what you repeat, you become. And what you practice in private becomes your power in public. Steve Harvey didn't rise by accident. He didn't wake up one day with a microphone in hand and the world in his pocket. He showed up, bombed, repeated, failed, learned, tried again, got back up. One mic, one joke, one prayer at a time. That's the formula. Micro wins, stacked like bricks, building a wall that no failure could tear down. Here's what they won't tell you on Instagram. Success is boring. It's brushing your teeth every day, reading 10 pages, writing 200 words, saving $1, making one phone call, choosing the uncomfortable truth over the convenient lie, and doing it not once, but again and again and again. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. The people who want the highlight reel from the people who are willing to film it, frame by frame. You want big results? Then fall in love with the small wins. Not just tolerate them, love them, celebrate them, because every time you repeat something healthy, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Let's call it what it is, compound identity. That's the real magic, when your habits stop being something you do and start being who you are. You don't just drink water, you are someone who respects their body. You don't just save money, you are someone who honors their future. You don't just write, you are someone with a voice the world needs to hear. That's power. Quiet power, steady power, sustainable power, soul velocity power. So today, I'm asking you to stop underestimating the small. That 5-minute stretch, it matters. That thank you text, it matters. That decision to take the stairs, it matters. Because every insignificant choice is a seed. And when discipline waters those seeds daily, the harvest will always come. Say it with me. I win in the micro. I show up for the little. Because I'm building a life that doesn't fall apart when the wind blows. Let's start stacking the small. Because that's where the unstoppable you is built. Part 2, the habits that build identity. Let me tell you something right here, right now. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your habits. That's real, that's raw, and that's where most people miss it. They think success is about willpower. But willpower is a matchstick in a rainstorm. It burns hot, then burns out. What you need is something deeper, identity-based habits. Because you don't just act how you feel, you act based on who you believe you are. And if your habits don't match that identity, your identity will always win. You might hustle for a week, a month, but eventually your actions will collapse under the weight of who you really think you are. Steve Harvey didn't become Steve Harvey by chance. He built himself brick by brick, habit by habit. He created a morning routine that protected his energy, a rhythm that honored his gift. He didn't just do what successful people do. He became a successful person long before the world noticed. That's what micro wins do. They're not just about getting stuff done. They're about building someone new. Each small act is a message to yourself. This is who I am now. When you make your bed, you're not just cleaning, you're casting a vote for order. When you journal for 5 minutes, you're not just writing, you're building awareness. When you say no to that extra scroll, you're not just saving time, you're protecting your focus. You're not building habits, you're building a new you. And here's the beauty of micro wins. They're easy to start, no giant overhaul, no all or nothing thinking, just small, consistent upgrades, done with intention, done with love, done with legacy in mind. Let's talk about 3 identity-shaping micro habits you can start right now. 1 minute silence in the morning. Before you scroll, before you sprint, just sit, breathe. Remind yourself who you are and who you're becoming. 2, daily 1-line journal. Every evening, write 1 sentence that sums up your effort or your lesson. Just 1. Over time, it becomes a map of your growth. 3, gratitude check. Before you sleep, speak 3 things out loud that you're thankful for. This isn't just positivity, this is proof that your life is already filled with fuel. You don't need a breakthrough, you need repetition. You don't need inspiration, you need identity. And identity is built 1 small, repeated choice at a time. Say it out loud, I build the future by building myself. My habits are who I am, not just what I do. This is part 2. We're not aiming for hype, we're aiming for who we're becoming. Because once your habits match your vision, you become unstoppable. Part 3 is how the visible momentum of micro wins. Success doesn't shout at first, it whispers. It shows up as a shift in your posture, a second of extra clarity, a deeper breath before reacting. See, the most powerful thing about micro wins isn't what they give you in the moment. It's the invisible momentum they build over time. Let me tell you something, Steve Harvey style, momentum is a beast. Once it's on your side, everything gets easier. Not because life got lighter, but because you got stronger. And that strength didn't come from one giant leap, it came from 1,000 faithful steps. You drink one glass of water and nothing changes. You do it for 90 days and your skin, focus, and energy shift. You wake up early once and feel groggy. You do it for 6 months and you own your mornings. You meditate for 1 minute and feel awkward. You stick with it and peace becomes your default. That's invisible momentum, the power you feel before the world claps, the certainty that comes before any confirmation. Steve didn't wait for applause. He didn't wait for trending moments. He created internal momentum with daily choices no one saw. You want that kind of impact? Then stop chasing instant results and start building lasting rhythm. See, micro wins create compound confidence. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, your trust in you grows. And eventually that trust turns into certainty. And certainty is what moves mountains. Let me make it plain. Micro wins fight doubt. Micro wins kill fear. Micro wins silence procrastination. Because when you've been stacking victories all week, that big challenge doesn't scare you, it excites you. You've already been training, you've already been winning, just not loudly. That's what most people don't see. They think success is the big move, but it's the invisible weight you've been lifting all along that made the big move possible. So here's what I want you to remember. The scale might not move, the lights might not jump, the mirror might not shout back, but something inside you is shifting, and that shift, that's sacred. That's the muscle of discipline being built. Quietly, powerfully, permanently. Say it with me. My results may be invisible right now, but my momentum is unstoppable. My small wins are stacking. My inner strength is rising. This is how we change. This is how we lead. This is how we win. Part 4, the ripple effect. How tiny habits impact every area of your life. Let me say something that might shock you. Your small habits are not isolated events. They're dominoes. They don't stay in one lane. They bleed into everything. That one tiny shift you made in your morning, it starts echoing in your relationships, your money, your energy, your mindset. That's the ripple effect. That's when one good choice becomes a wave of transformation. See, you think the 5-minute walk was about exercise, but it gave you clarity. You thought saying no to the extra scroll was about time, but it gave you power. You thought writing one paragraph a day was about productivity, but it made you believe in your voice again. Steve Harvey didn't build his life by changing everything at once. He picked one lane, one habit, one moment, and gave it everything. And when that habit stuck, it began shifting how he thought, how he spoke, how he prayed, how he moved. That's the ripple. You don't need a massive overhaul. You need a meaningful ripple. One small habit done with commitment can rewrite your story. Let me give you an example. You wake up 30 minutes earlier. You now have space. You read instead of rushing. You enter your day with peace instead of panic. That peace changes how you talk to your spouse. That energy changes how you show up at work. That momentum changes what you're willing to dream again. It started with a 30-minute shift. That's the kind of change that lasts. Not because it's big, but because it's rooted. Now let me warn you, the ripple effect works both ways. One lazy habit, repeated enough times, it becomes a landslide. One lie you tell yourself, it grows roots. One area of your life you let slide, it starts pulling other areas down with it. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about protecting the ripple. If you've been wondering why you feel off, lost, distracted, check your micro habits. Check your morning. Check your attention. Because one small habit, one minor leak, can drain an ocean of potential. But here's the good news. You don't have to fix everything. Just one ripple, one habit, one pattern. Anchor that, water it, repeat it, let it grow. Say it with me. One small change will touch every corner of my life. I protect my habits because they ripple into my legacy. This is how giants are made, not by shouting louder, but by shifting deeper. Soul velocity is about anchoring those shifts and letting them ripple outward. Part 5, stacking. How to build momentum without overwhelm. One of the biggest reasons people quit on discipline is because they try to change everything all at once. They go from 0 to burnout in a week. But what if I told you, you don't need to change your whole life. You just need to link the right things together. That's called habit stacking. And it's the key to building massive momentum without breaking under the weight of expectation. Steve Harvey didn't go from unknown to global icon in a month. He built layers, he stacked wins, he tied habits to habits. And before long, excellence wasn't something he reached for, it was something he walked in. Here's how it works. Habit stacking means you attach a new habit to an existing one, something you already do. Why? Because the brain already has a rhythm there. You're not fighting for attention, you're leveraging momentum. After I brush my teeth, I write one sentence of gratitude. After I pour my coffee, I review my goals for 60 seconds. After I close my laptop at night, I read one page of a book. You're not overhauling, you're layering. This is important. The goal isn't to do more, it's to stack better. Because every habit you add without anchoring it to something real will require willpower. And willpower, my friend, is a fading fuel. But systems last. Routines stick. Identity anchors hold strong. Start by identifying your anchors. What do you already do every single day without fail? Wake up, brush teeth, eat, sit at a desk, scroll, sleep. Those are your anchors. That's where you attach your next habit. Want to build a journal habit? Attach it to your coffee time. Want to stretch every morning? Attach it to getting out of bed. Want to check in with your finances? Attach it to closing your laptop. This works because it removes friction. You're not reinventing, you're evolving. Steve Harvey evolved. He didn't just start new things, he built rituals, layers, anchors, and that's why when everything else fell shaky, his rhythm stayed steady. Let me make it simple. Don't try to be perfect, be strategic. Stack small wins where they already fit. That's how you create flow without force. That's how you grow without exhaustion. That's how you scale your discipline without burning out your will. Say it with me. I don't chase discipline. I design it. I stack habits like bricks to build momentum that lasts. No more overwhelm. No more starting over. Just steady progress. Daily rhythm. Soul deep transformation. Part 6. The psychology of showing up. Why consistency changes everything. If there's one rule that separates winners from wishers, it's this. The ones who keep showing up win. That's it. Not the most talented, not the loudest, not the ones with the perfect plan. The ones who keep showing up, especially when they don't feel like it. You see, showing up isn't just about presence, it's about power. When you show up consistently, you tell your brain, this matters. You signal to your soul, we're building something here. You speak to the universe, I'm not playing small with my life. That's psychology, that's identity, that's transformation. Steve Harvey didn't become a household name because he had perfect days. He became who he is because he refused to break the chain, no matter what. He got on stage when he was tired. He performed when his heart was heavy. He kept going even when the world wasn't clapping because he knew that discipline was louder than applause. Consistency is your compounding advantage. It multiplies your momentum. It tells your emotions they don't run the show. It turns amateurs into artists, dilettantes into legends. And it starts small, one day, one task, one commitment. Let me ask you something. What would happen if, for 100 days, you showed up for just one thing every day? Not perfectly, not dramatically, just faithfully. You'd change. Your habits would root. Your brain would adapt. Your belief would deepen. Your identity would elevate. You don't need to be brilliant. You need to be consistent. Let me break it down. Show up to your morning routine, your day follows. Show up to your quiet time, your mind clears. Show up to your writing, your voice sharpens. Show up to your vision, your future aligns. Even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's not producing immediate results. Because showing up isn't about now, it's about becoming someone your future can trust. People often say, but what if I don't see results? My answer, keep showing up because the work is working, even when it's invisible. You don't harvest the day after you plant, but keep showing up. Water the roots, tend the soil, and in time, the bloom always comes. Say it with me, I don't wait to feel ready. I build trust by showing up every day, every moment. I keep the promise, I become the person. Consistency isn't sexy, but it's sacred. It's the quiet ritual that turns average into unstoppable. Part 7 Ray. Drink in the loop. How to bounce back without losing momentum. Listen close. The goal is never perfection. It's progress. And if you're building anything that matters, you're gonna fall. You're gonna miss a day. You're gonna hit a wall. That's not failure, that's feedback. You know what separates the discipline from the defeated? The bounce back. The ability to fall down on Monday and still rise like a lion on Tuesday. Let me say it Steve Harvey style. It ain't about how many times you get it wrong. It's about how fast you return to right. Winners aren't perfect, they're resilient. The truth is, most people don't fail because they fall. They fail because they never get back up. They let one missed workout become a missed week. One skipped journal turn into a forgotten purpose. One emotional moment become a permanent identity. But soul velocity, we don't stay down. You break the loop by refusing to believe the lie that one step back erases everything you've built. It doesn't. That's shame talking. That's ego whispering. And you have the power to silence it with action. You bounce back by making the next move, not by overthinking the last one. Miss the morning, cool. Win the afternoon, skip the gym, no stress. Take a walk, ate off plan, that was lunch. Dinner still yours. This is how pros live. They reset, not regret. Let me give you the soul velocity rule. Never miss twice. That's it. Fall once, human. Fall twice without a decision, that's habit forming. Catch it, redirect, recommit, and when you come back, don't sprint. Walk with intention. Build back slow, solid, and smarter. Steve Harvey had moments where he questioned everything. When the jokes didn't land, when the business went sideways, when the faith felt thin, but he didn't quit. He didn't throw the whole journey away over one bad day. He bounced. That's discipline, not in the staying perfect, but in the returning strong. And let me remind you, every time you bounce back, you're rewriting your identity. You're telling your soul, we don't run, we don't fold, we recover. Say it with me. I don't chase flawless. I choose forward. I fall with grace. I rise with power. I bounce back like I was built for it. Because you are. You are not your stumble. You are not your moment of weakness. You are not your delay. You are your recovery. You are your rhythm. You are your decision to return again and again and again. Part 8, identity anchors. How to make discipline part of who you are. You want to know the real secret to lasting discipline? It's not tactics. It's not hacks. It's identity. Until discipline becomes who you are, it will always feel like something you're chasing. But once it's wired into your identity, it becomes natural. You don't force it. You flow with it. Let me break it down, Steve Harvey style. People fail not because they didn't try hard enough, but because they were trying to act like someone they didn't believe they were. That's the gap. You can't act like a winner if you still see yourself as someone who always quits. You can't build millionaire habits with broke identity. You can't speak power if your internal dialogue is stuck in survival. Part 9, the accountability equation. How to stay on track when no one's watching. Let me ask you something real simple. Who are you when nobody's clapping? When the lights are off? When it's just you, the silence, and your next choice. That's the moment where discipline is either real or it's rented. Because here's the truth. The gym is crowded in January. Churches are packed on New Year's Eve. Planners are full of dreams on Monday. But come mid-March, mid-week, mid-storm, that's when the quit starts creeping in. Steve Harvey didn't build his empire with crowd validation. He built it with private accountability. He didn't need someone checking his calendar. His calling did that. He didn't wait for someone to remind him. His vision did that. If you want to stay on track when no one's watching, you need to build accountability systems that don't rely on hype. Systems that are rooted in integrity, not attention. Let me give you 3 ways to do it. 1, internal check-ins. Every morning, ask yourself, what does my future self need from me today? Not your boss, not your friends, you. Hold space for that voice. Answer to that standard. 2, micro commitments. Forget the big gestures. Focus on keeping tiny promises. I'll write for 10 minutes. I'll walk for 15. Keep those small promises so well, they start to rewire your identity. 3, external accountability that elevates. Find someone who won't let you settle, not someone who makes you feel guilty, someone who reminds you of who you said you wanted to be. Share your goals, set check-ins, raise the stakes. This isn't about shame, it's about alignment. You're not reporting it out of fear, you're anchoring your greatness. And here's the most important part. When you mess up, because you will, don't hide, respond, re-engage, lean into the system, not away from it. Discipline that only works under pressure is fragile. Discipline that thrives in silence, that's foundational. Say it with me. I keep going even when no one sees me. My commitment isn't loud, it's loyal. That's legacy. That's how you build discipline that lasts beyond motivation, beyond noise, beyond recognition. Soul velocity is about doing the work because it matters to you, not because someone's watching. So what do? We anchor. We build identity, anchors. These are small, daily actions that reinforce the truth of who you're becoming. They're not performance-based. They're alignment-based. They say, this is me now. Let me show you how. Every time you journal, that's an anchor. It tells your brain, I'm a thinker. Every time you pray, that's an anchor. It tells your soul, I'm guided. Every time you work out, that's an anchor. It tells your body, I'm disciplined. The habit matters, but the message it sends is what transforms you. Steve Harvey didn't wait for the world to affirm him. He affirmed himself through what he did daily. Speaking, reading, praying, preparing, it became normal to show up like someone the world would eventually respect because he respected himself first. Identity anchors work because they bypass the need for external results. They build trust inward. They train your subconscious. They give your discipline a home to live in. You're not faking it until you make it. You're practicing it until it sticks. And the more you act in alignment with your higher self, the more that version becomes the only version. Say it with me. My discipline is not a phase. It's my nature. Every small action confirms who I truly am. Start anchoring who you want to be. Don't wait for the title, the applause, or the perfect moment. Act like it now. Move like it now. Speak like it now. Because the moment you show up as your higher self, the world starts responding differently. Part 10, living a lifestyle, making micro wins a permanent part of who you are. This is it, the final stretch. But let me say it clearly, if you've made it this far, you already know something most people never discover. Discipline is not a 30-day challenge, it's a lifestyle. And micro wins, they aren't just tools, they're your daily signature. They say, I don't live by chance, I live by choice. Steve Harvey didn't build success off of big speeches. He built it off of consistent rhythm. Patterns that shaped the man long before the platform ever showed up. He lived it when no one knew his name. That's what made the name mean something when they finally heard it. You want a life that people respect. Build it brick by brick, decision by decision, habit by habit. Because the ones who become unstoppable don't just act differently, they think differently. They move through their day with intention. They walk like their future is watching. Micro wins become a lifestyle when you no longer need reminders, it's reflex. You no longer seek motivation, you are the source. You don't try to stay on track, you live on track. This isn't about doing more. This is about doing what matters, more consistently. Start treating your calendar like your character. Start treating your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. You don't rise because of what you do once. You rise because of what you refuse to stop doing. So here's how you seal this transformation. 1 point, audit your life. What's aligned? What's noise? 2, protect your patterns. Discipline dies in distraction. 3, elevate your environment. Surround yourself with what feeds your focus. 4, celebrate without pausing. Every small win is proof, but don't stop, stack it. Say it one final time, I live a lifestyle of discipline. My micro wins are my identity. My consistency is my character. You are no longer the person who waits to feel ready. You are the one who moves regardless. You are no longer the one who breaks under pressure. You are the one who rises because of it. You are soul velocity. And remember, your daily decisions decide your destiny. It ain't always glamorous. It ain't always easy, but it's always worth it. Because when you keep showing up for your calling will start showing up for you. Keep your head up, keep your habits tight, and I'll see you at the top. Steve Harvey, Soul Velocity,